right, let's go ahead and get started. Thanks to everyone for joining us today. My name is Tim Begonis. I'm the CMO here at D-Tools, and joining us today for this webinar is Seth Enos, our SI product manager, and Eduardo Valak, who's our API product manager. So what we're going to talk about today is we'll just do a little brief introduction of D-Tools and SI, an overview and demo of the new capabilities in System Integrator version 21. Okay, for those of you who may be new to D-Tools, thank you. Thanks for joining the D-Tools community. You know, we've just celebrated 25 years in the industry, and really, you know, we started this company with a software product that was purpose-built for system integrators and helping solve the day-to-day problems that you guys encounter. Since then, we've grown to help over 7,000 plus companies, just like yours, in over 90 countries. And we continue to really build out our products, and we're proud of that heritage. We continue to win awards, and we're very proud to be launching System Integrator version 21 today. So about System Integrator, we are a comprehensive end-to-end solution that really focuses on the primary activities of your business, from sales to engineering through project management and service. We have an integrated product library that drives everything within our software, and this information helps drive the bill of materials to generate very detailed proposals with installation times, labor hours, and as you're building a project within our system, we're helping you organize things by location, by system, by project phase. And as you're adding the items to the bill of materials, we're also tracking install times, and you can apply your labor rates so that you get a very accurate estimation of what it's going to take to deliver that job. That information can then be formatted into all client documentation, so proposals, contracts, scope of work, everything client facing, and then we can leverage that same information to generate drawings within our system. We integrate directly with Visio and AutoCAD, and we're able to do very detailed engineered drawings, including wire schedules, wire checklists, other reports that help the installation. And then that same information can be used to deliver the project management capabilities such as scheduling, field resource management, making sure that the install teams have the information they need, being able to purchase products, generate change orders, and then service that project after completion. We also have a robust API, which we'll talk about some changes and improvements to later, and we integrate with third-party systems such as accounting systems, as well as CRM and ERP systems. And we have a very robust business intelligence engine that helps you track KPIs and other things throughout the business. So we help you get a clear picture of what's happening and help you make better business decisions as you move forward. So what's new in System Integrator? With all of our new releases, we work off of list of most requested features by you, our clients. And this release has a number of those. This few bullet points here are just really scratching the surface. Our number one requested feature this time was dark mode. So we've implemented dark mode, which really helps relieve eye strain and fatigue during long hours of screen time. We have project submittals and document delivery. This will help you organize all client documentation, drawings, cut sheets, manuals, and you can coalesce those into a single PDF with links to help really improve that closeout process. With our last release, version 20, we introduced multiple labor types, and this really helped improve the way that you could do job costing and track for different types of labor within the job. And what we've done in this release is now you can actually schedule and create install tasks specific to those labor types. This will help you really increase and improve your resource management. It helps improve time tracking, and of course, it helps improve job costing. We also have a number of data and catalog management improvements, many to go into, and Seth is going to do a great demo of all the things that we've included on this. But we can now import and export checklists using CSV files. We've helped you merge vendors and clients to eliminate duplicate entries and help you with your data management. And then that's really just a few, and there's a number of enhancements and productivity improvements, and we're really proud of this release. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Seth, who's going to do a demonstration of the new features.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. And I am going to go through the new features of version 21. It was released today, and as we usually do, we'll let you know it's not turned on for everyone right away. We usually do a staged rollout for a few weeks, just in case. I mean, on the rare chance we miss any bugs, a handful of users will find those usually, and then we fix those before everyone goes and updates. Also, if you are AWS hosted on the Amazon Web Services, you'll be getting a notification from our team to coordinate with you when to update you in probably a week or so to this new version. And just like I said, if you're not ready, that's fine. Work with the team, and then they'll update your server for you. You'll install the clients, and you'll get all these great new features. Speaking of the features, as I usually do, I'm going to show you where the release notes are. I'm working on getting this live. It'll be live hopefully later today. But when you're on our documentation site, which is support.dtools.com, there's going to be a section out there for v21, of course, like we always do for every version. In the administrator guide, there are the release notes, and I'll just pull those up here. Here is also where we'll embed a link to the video of this webinar once it's converted and put up on YouTube. I'll embed that out here on this page, but there's a list of everything that we changed. So again, you'll have access to this later today. And Tim mentioned this, where do we get our feature list from? Now, not exclusively from here, but a great place to go and put your feature requests in is this feedback.dtools.com. This is our site where we track user requests, and it gives you a forum out there, a sense to other users that can vote on the features. As you can see, like these ones over here, some only get a few votes out here, but they're easy and we just do them. Others are get a ton of votes, but they're a much bigger request, and those get delayed over time. And so in this release here, dark mode was the most popular one out here, I'm pretty sure ever, for a feature. So we'll start there. I'll show off dark mode first, but I do want to encourage everyone to send your feature or post your feature requests out here. So we do review them. We may not comment on them out here right away or try to have that a conversation about these features, but we do look at them and we try to put them into a good bucket, if you will, for a future release. Anyways, those are the two sites there. As I said, I'm going to start with dark mode. Ta-da! This is dark mode. So we basically swapped the colors out that was glaringly white in a lot of interfaces before, and you'll see that later. I'm not going to demo in dark mode for this webinar, but you do have the option if you are having eye strain to switch over to this mode. And yeah, we hope you like it. I mean, we're looking for feedback on this. Our first stab at it. We just again did a reversal of colors. It was a lot of work. I will tell you that the way System Integrator is built with all the different forms and interfaces throughout it. Hopefully we didn't miss any. We've done extensive testing, so it should be good. And you do have to choose to turn this on and off, and you will have to close and reopen the application for that to happen. I'm just going to briefly show that here. Up here under your username that you're logged in as, you'll see this used to just open my account information, but now there's a option here, in this case, turn off dark mode, and there's also, of course, it toggles to turn on. When you do that, it will just give you a little warning here. Hey, you have to restart this in order for that to take effect. So yeah, that's mostly it. I'll also show you, let me minimize this machine and go into SI here in regular mode. We're going to take here and show you the other place where you can set it to go into dark mode rather than this drop down up here. It's under your application settings, and here you can see dark mode here, it's yes or no, and you can turn that on or off. You also have the ability here to inverse project row and text colors when you are switching to dark mode. And what that's referring to is down here. We have a ton of these row and font color options for you for all the different, I don't know the word, types of items, whether it's a calculated item, whether it's owner furnished equipment, the OFE there, whether it's non-billable, an alternate, an optional. We have a lot of features in SI, as you know. And so what that feature up there for dark mode just does is offer to reverse those. So hopefully you can read it better in dark mode. So it's your option whether you want to inverse these or not. So, and again, that's where you can turn that off if you want to under there. So I remember which user it was, but who commented out there in dark mode that my retinas are burning. I'm hoping that solves that problem. So, all right, moving ahead, we're going to talk about a new feature here called Submittals. It's a new reporting feature, actually. And what a submittal, or what? Let me just tell you the difference of it. Why this reporting is different. So a submittal document adds links, hyperlinks to other documents, primarily PDF documents, but they can be images, they can be anything that you want it to be, actually. But it organizes and provides again, linked a hyperlinked document. That's the big difference. But the point of submittals and why we set these up were a long-standing request, many years, for requirements when you're dealing with architects or interior designers or any other trade. When you're working on a project, they may need certain documents from you or require that you provide them the spec sheets for all of the equipment or all of the major equipment that's going into a project. A interior designer may want, again, possibly spec sheets that show, or brochures that show color options, things like that, so that they can do their part of the project more effectively. Sometimes it's courtesy of you to provide these documents. Sometimes it's a requirement, depending on the project, of course. So we built these with that in mind. So the ability to, and that's why we call them submittals. You're submitting these documents out to, again, another trade, and hopefully it meets their requirements. But what we found as we were building this is that it could be used for a lot of things, because it's really a report that adds hyperlinks to files. So it could be used for, you wouldn't necessarily use the word submittal from what I've heard from our users, but like closeout documents to your end client. So you've put in a system for them. You may want to provide them a link for every user guide for the major equipment that's going into a project. So you have the ability to do that as well. Okay, so I've kind of described them, hopefully well, and now I want to show submittals. Now here in the control panel, you can set up catalog level submittals. There's not a whole lot of fields out here compared to when you're in a project once these get added there, but I will show this. This is, again, only if you want to set up some global ones, and then later on when you add these to a project, you're able to modify these as needed. But really, if we take a look at, say, specification sheet, what a submittal here consists of globally or in the catalog level, non-project level, is a name and a description. Two important options down here to choose from that I do want to talk about while we're here, because I'll try to demo both later. But what you're looking at here is the option to use only links in the submittal report, which, by the way, and I'll talk about these links and where they are and all that, but this does not download the actual files to a folder on your machine. It just keeps the hyperlinks from where they live, which is going to be in an Amazon S3 bucket. But we heard from a lot of our users that they're required to actually provide copies of, say, the PDFs of a user guide or a spec sheet. So this option here is to download files for use in the submittal report. And then what we do in that case, we download the files from the S3 bucket, and we put them in a local folder inside the project folder with the name of the submittal in it. And we create the PDF document directly in that folder as well. Then you can zip up that folder, send it off to your, again, architect or designer, whoever needs these. And as long as they run that report from within that folder, everything links properly. Plus, they have the quote unquote physical copies of these documents sitting there in the folder. And then this option here is just to download newer updated files. That's just generally on the fly as you're creating these. In case you've modified some files, you may want to download the newest ones. There could be use cases where you don't, where you are just rerunning a submittal you've already sent out. For instance, you may not want the new updated files, so you can absolutely choose to uncheck that. The thing here is, just so you know, downloading the files will take longer when you're generating the submittal report. So, but again, it all depends on your requirements. Either way, it's not going to take the hours and hours and hours of work it used to take you to set up these documents to provide to, again, the outside the trades for a project. So this is the basics here. Then there's what categories of files do you want to include on this particular submittal? And I'll explain, we'll talk more about these here, but our default list out here is spec sheet, user manual, install manual, images, and then back panel image. And those correspond to files that we store in the DTools library. Some of you may or may not know that, that for years we've had user guides and install manuals and spec sheets out in our DTools library, and you could download those and save them wherever you want. But we've never built in any functionality in our software to deal with those files that we provide out there. It's always a secondary thing. You got to download those if you want, but they don't link anywhere inside of SI. So that's one of the major changes we made. Is all products now have a files tab where we'll look at that, where you are able to either download those files that we have out in the DTools library, or you can add your own, whether it be a link or a file. It's totally up to you. So we'll come back and talk more about these. And then the report itself, there's just one single report that we released for submittals called a project submittal, and there's your groupings here. You can group by location or by system, or just by product, which oftentimes that will be how some of these go. It's just list the products, where they are, how many there are in the project, and a link to the files. Now, so we only do provide this one report, like I mentioned, but it is customizable. It's treated like a standard report. So you go into our standard report designer, create a report based off of this one that has all the wonderful coding behind it. And then you can add, again, your graphics and other stuff that you want to display on the report once you see this. So again, completely customizable. But in this case, what you would pick out here when you're building these is how you want to group it by default. So that's again, the general or catalog level submittal. Now let's talk on a project level. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a project here, and I'm going to open an item, and I'll show you the files tab that's associated. Well, of course, I picked one without files. Hold on. Do you have a file? Hopefully. Yay, 2 files. So there's a couple new fields here to look at, and I'm just going to expand my screen since I'm on a virtual right now. There's one down here that says include in submittal, and when you upgrade to v21, all items will just get this check mark by default, but that's where you might go in and your catalog and filter to all connectors and wire and say, no, don't include those in there. Or maybe you do. This setting is both at the catalog level and project level. So on a per project basis, you may go in and filter and turn this off for certain items. No worries, it won't affect your catalog unless you want it to. So just know that option is there, and it will just automatically want to include the items. And then here's the files tab. So here you can see a list of those categories. Our stock list here cannot be modified, but you can add to this. So if you have other types of files with different names, go ahead and add to this. The reason we don't let you rename these is because, again, these files correspond to, or these names, these category names, correspond to actual files that can now be downloaded from the DTools library. So, and then down here, it's going to list what they have, whether it's a file you've manually added yourself here, or if it's a link somewhere. In this case, we've got this link out here. Every user, or every company, I should say, gets their own S3 bucket out there for your catalog, so these documents can live out there. And then it's up to you whether you want to download those and provide them to somebody or just provide them the links. So those are the fields here, and again, modify as needed. Let's go ahead and run a submittal. So here, when this opens for a project, generally this will be, it will be blank. It's not a project submittal at this point. So that's where this add comes from, where I could add from my global list. I could create a brand new one here on the fly if I wanted to. It's up to you. And then it's just project specific at that point. It doesn't have to save globally. But here I already have one. So I wanted to create a specifications submittal in this case, but I do want to edit this and show you the additional fields now that we're in a project. And then we'll show you the output. So here, again, a name, a description, the option here. For this example, I'll download the files. It might take 30 seconds more to run. We'll see, but I'll download the files. Or again, that's the quick and easy one. It's just the links. So here are the files and links. So it looks a little bit different than before. When you're global, all you're doing is picking what you want to display. Now we're actually showing you all the items in this project that are marked to include in the submittal over here. And even at this point, I could say, no, don't include that, and don't include that if I wanted to. But by default, everything's checked here for those items. And I'm only showing back panel images and spec sheets if I have them. Additional field here, and again, that's why I said as we were building this, we kept going on this, project files. Now, not something that's often asked for or required in a submittal to a designer, say, but your client, you may want to provide some images that you've done. Say you did your Visio drawings and maybe you want to PDF those and provide those with a link out to your client in a document. You certainly can. And that's what I've done here. I've got a couple PDFs I'll put in this document, but this is looking at your projects folder. And so they have to be files that you've added to the projects folder, and you can pick and choose those. As you can see, the even Visio file displays here if you really wanted to link to the actual file. And if someone had Visio, they could open that. But I'm going to keep it clean here with the PDFs here. And then, of course, the report. If you change your mind on how you want it to group, you can do that here or pick your custom report. But really, that's the submittal options. And then let's go ahead and run it. Save it. Sure. Like I said, it has to download these each time I do this, so give it a sec here. And this option again right there is putting all these in a folder, and you're going to see a prompt here in just a second to open that folder. There we go. It's generating the report. And there we go. So this is the prompt that is going to come up and just basically let you know the path to the project or to the submittal folder that we've created. And as you can see, it's in the project folder path, folder called submittals, then the name of my actual submittal. So this goes in there. Now, regardless of whether you choose to download the items or just use the links, we create this folder and we put the PDF of the submittal report in there. So it's just a matter of, is it linked externally, or are we linking within that folder to the downloaded files? That's the big difference. So do I want to open the folder? Yes, I want to, because I want to show you this. And then this is going to generate automatically on its own. I guess I didn't, where's my cover page? Anyways, let me scroll down. Here's we put an image of the item, the quantity of them, and then the locations that they existed. Now, this is because I didn't group it by location or system. So let me find a better example here, right there. So these speakers, there's 6 of them. There's 2 in Office 1, 2 in Office 2, 2 in reception, and I chose to show the spec sheet for that. And that's that link where you can click this and open up that file directly out of the document. Now, again, if I had grouped by location, it would break these out just by location. It would say whatever, Office 1, it would show 2 of these speakers with the link, and it would show, again, whatever else is in Office 1 beneath that. So as I mentioned, this file does live in a folder, so you are able to grab it right away. It's a PDF, but here are all the files that were just downloaded for this particular report here, and then there is the project submittal report, the PDF. So That's what you can share, or actually in this case, if you want to just zip this file or folder up and you can get it over to them, they will be able to run this report and everything will link to a file in that folder. So that, folks, is submittals. Other than, we keep going past the items, because I did as an example, if project files are included, we have a separate section on here for project files, and those are those PDFs I mentioned out to the documents. Now this is going to yell at me because it's Adobe, but it's going to say I have to allow this, and yes, but there we go. It pulled up the PDF of that document there that I kicked out. Okay, so that is submittals. I'm going to go ahead and close that for now and close out of there. And that is our big feature for this release. I would say the biggest one, well, besides dark mode, that's going to hopefully make people happy, but that's one we focused on. And we are looking very forward to your feedback on that. And hopefully it saves you a ton of time. Those who I've shown this to ahead of time, user groups and all that, seem to really like it. I'm going to say this right now. Yes, the dream would have been to have that automatically combine all those individual documents into one massive PDF file. We weren't able to pull that off. We did try, and it would usually break within the first couple PDFs. Something would be wrong with the PDF, and it wouldn't merge with the other one. And as you can imagine, PDFs, well, you know, they come in all different sizes. Number one, page sizes and orientations. So, yeah, that proved a little difficult. Doesn't mean we won't tackle that in the future again, but for this release, you're getting a document out of there with links in it, and we hope it suits your needs. Okay, let me close this project for now. Do you want to check it in? Yeah. Okay, before, well, actually, no, I'll just go here. While I'm here, I wanted to show you a new setting here. So under our user sign-in policies, we added a two-factor authentication option. Last release, I think it was, we integrated to Azure Active Directory AAD. That's one of our integrations down here. But not everyone uses AAD. So we wanted to give another option for two-factor authentication, which is just going to be an email that's sent out X amount of days. I'll just show you the setting here. It's pretty simple here. Right there, enable two-factor authentication. Email user sign-in code every X amount of days. So when you turn this on, you choose how many days, and they will have to put in a code to log in that's they receive in that email. That setting does not sync right now to mobile installer customer portal. We tell you that down here, but I just want to point that out before the question comes up. This one is not included. The other ones are. So yeah, that should make some people happy. I know there was some concern for our European users for new standards over there. And I forget the actual name of that because I took it out of the case there. I had it written down, but there was some sort of compliance. So hopefully that that just adds another layer of security to your SI logins. Okay, task changes. So Tim mentioned this one. This is a big deal for us because v20, the one prior to this, we did introduce multiple labor types. That again, Tim explored a little bit when he was talking. Multiple labor types being assigned to a single product. We had a limitation. We knew it when we released that you can only add an item one time to a task. So if there's multiple labor types associated with it, you have to choose which of those labor types you want to be included on that task as far as estimated hours go. But then there's really no visibility on that those other labor types that are associated with it. Like, what about the programming that happens next week? Or what about the training that happens 2 weeks out from the job close or whenever? But that's labor that's associated there to tasks. But the bottom line is you can only assign an item to a task one time. And so after that, the rest of that, those estimated hours were kind of just lost, if you will. That's now changed. So you can add items to multiple tasks now, as long as they have labor types associated with them that haven't been marked as completed. So let's do that. Let's talk about that. So if I go here to create a task for this item, that project there, let's see. I know I'm not going to publish this. I'll go to item. I'm just going straight to items and just show you this real quick. And I'm going to back up and show you the really cool feature for this. But when you're adding items now, notice we've split this interface now. So each item that you highlight here shows the labor that's associated with. In this case, there's 3 different labor types with their hours. This one is 3, but they're different. Let's see, some of these might only have 1. Let's get, yeah, good. This one only has 1. So this is brand new. Now, when you select an item, it'll automatically assume that all of these are going there. So you can come and uncheck that and say that's not happening, and neither is this right now. So it's your option there. Now that's a little tedious, but I'll show you the cool feature here. Why we did this is we added some filters here on the general tab. So if you know that you're sending out technicians for site labor, which essentially whatever you want to call it, install labor, not the programming or not the other stuff that's associated with this, you can come here as you're building, as soon as you go to create the task, just to say, just show me site labor or show me site and programming. That's going to happen out on site, perhaps. Maybe I just want to see those 2. So I'll just do those 2. In addition, this has nothing to do with labor at this point, but we added a phase filter here too, which is just nice. So when you go to add items, we're just filtering down to what phase you doing. If you know you're in the rough in phase or pre-wire, great, filter to that. It just saves you a step later on if you just set that here globally for this task. Now, we won't stop you from adding, like killing the filter later and saying, no, we're adding finish items too. You can. It's just a convenience when you're adding to just be able to glance and go, good, I know that I'm putting in the proper phase and the proper items. But I don't really need to filter to phase right now, but now that I filtered 2, I really just want to show you 1. So site, let's go back to items, add items. And now you can see that same item that before had 3, we're only seeing the site labor for that. So it's a lot easier to come in here and then choose the ones that you want to pick, add those to the task, and know that, hey, the next time I go to create a task for, say, the programmer, I'll be able to see these items and I'll know that there's still programming labor associated with them via that pre-filter. So this should hopefully help out a lot. And this all translates out into mobile install as well. So you're going to have the options out there. Now, a major difference here that I do want to show, let's just reset this filter here because I want to add 2. Actually, I'll just add all 3. And I'll just do 1 item for now. What I want to show you is here. So when an item is added to a task, its labor shows down here. Notice there's 2 fields here now. Is it completed, and then what date it was completed? So you can mark that, yep, that's done, and then programming is done. Training still hasn't happened yet, because that will be hopefully on another task and associated with other timesheets, because someone else is doing that whenever. If you do mark an item as installed, we still have the installed, of course. It just automatically ticks these, just so you know. And then you uncheck it. We offer to untick these. Yeah, just try to automate some stuff there for y'all. This hopefully solves that problem that we not necessarily created, but we knew walking into multiple labor types we were going to have to make some task adjustments that just didn't make it into V20. So there's that feature. Well, we don't need to save the task there. Okay, let's see. Let's talk a little bit about some catalog changes. Cool. And then, of course, at the end, we'll come back for the Q&A here. We increased our long description field for products and the package description field, which is a different field, from 1,000 characters to 2,000 characters. That was something we did. We changed our labor hours input field. So let's go here to hours, minutes, and seconds to give you more granularity and this has been a complaint for a long time. We've always had labor hours, and then we get the question, well, I just want to put 11 minutes. So how many hours is that? I don't know. You math that out on the calculator, and then you put in your fraction there. So now when you're entering here, it's hours, minutes, and seconds. And yes, we did go to seconds. We have users that are that granular. That's the nice word for it. But that's why that's there. I'm sure y'all will use it. But I would never use that, just hours and minutes. But it gives you a little more flexibility here. It also is, of course, makes this more compatible with our other product, DTools Cloud. So if you are taking projects now from DTools Cloud and bringing them into SI, there can be some mismatch on labor hours sometimes because, again, rounding and that sort of thing. Now we match that format exactly as they did out there. So that's a nice big improvement, and one that's just long overdue for products. While I'm here, let's talk about this one. This is it's a big feature, at least as far as the reception so far. When I did, again, show this to the user group, I wasn't thinking it would be that popular, to be honest with you, but what do I know? And that's this included option here for accessories. So what I'll first explain about included here is it does essentially the same thing as owner furnished equipment, OFE, that option we've had forever, which is on a price tab, and it's on a per project basis that you can mark things as owner furnished, right? But the thing is, not everything that is owner furnished is the same as included. So some items you might actually sell, and so we don't mark those as OFE. But when it's an accessory to an item, it's included in that. So when I say it does the same thing as OFE, what we do on owner furnished equipment or now included accessories is we zero out the cost and price of those, or sorry, the price of those. Cost and price, but the labor is still there. So there can be labor to install this, whatever this is, a wire or whatever, or attach that. Labor stays. The actual pricing for the product does not get included because it's an included item. So that is your option here. And then, of course, I turn my setting off normally. I'll show you the setting. Do not order will generally be selected there, but for this demonstration, I turned that off earlier. So I can show the setting. But basically, included items, oftentimes you won't be ordering those. It's something that might come in a kit. But hey, it's still a part of your catalog that is not owner furnished equipment, because when it's standalone, you do sell it at a price. So this option hopefully will save you all a lot of grief, and it's it's one that was highly voted out there too in Canny. So it was a very popular option to add that. I don't want to leave here just yet, so let's keep talking about a bulk wire real quick. We added a setting here. Now, bulk wire, again, for those of you that don't know, that's wire that is sold by the foot or by the meter based on your window settings. That's what we choose there. The price for a bulk item, again, bulk wire, when it's checked here, the price is then considered per foot in this case, because it is wire. So you generally would price this out not by the price of the box it comes in, but the price per foot or meter. And the labor's done that way too, per foot or meter. We've always done that. And now we've given you a choice. When a item is bulk wire, do you want the unit labor hours to be per foot or not? In this case, when I untick this, the hours I've put with, 36 seconds. That's for 100 feet of wire. So that's obviously wrong, not to mention the seconds thing. But now for 100 feet of wire, half an hour you could put here and change that right there. Now when I go back here, I don't want 30 minutes per foot necessarily. That's when I might come in and say how many per foot. But this was a big ask for users who outsource wire runs and pulls, where the labor's, I need to charge a fixed amount of labor per pull, not per foot. They don't do it that way, or my subcontractors don't charge me that way. That gives you a lot more flexibility on a per item basis, mind you. This isn't global. This is per item. Do you want to charge per foot or meter or not? So yes. Support's going to have fun troubleshooting all these new settings when you guys, wait, why is this one doing this and this one's not? We have a new find usages for labor items. So we've had this for a long time for products out here. You could find usages, but labor items, we had the first request, well, for a while, I guess. People say, well, I want to know where I use my labor items. Everyone that doesn't know, labor items are a part of your catalog. These are different than labor types, but these exist as line items in your proposals, but you now have the option to find usages in projects. You know, how many projects have I used that in? 2 of them apparently. these two. So there's that. And this will, since we're talking catalog, I'm going to go to add products from catalog. I'm sorry, add products from library, the dTools library. We added a new grouping over here. It used to be just manufacturer and categories. Now we've added our vendor partners. For those of you that don't know who or what vendor partners are vendors who have partnered with us to provide unit cost pricing for y'all. So you sign up with you connect, as we call it, to a vendor, and then they you can set pricing schedule updates, so the unit cost will come in, and then of course, based on your margin markup and what are your settings, your price can be set based on that. So anyways, you just have the ability now to search and filter out here per vendor partner, which is kind of a big deal. While I'm here, just so you all see this, the options here, and again, they're checked by default, but some of you may not want to overwrite your files for submittals, like spec sheet, user manual, install, back panel images. Those are the categories that we have out there that we didn't have before available. It's up to you whether you want to download those from us or assign someone internally to be like, no, we have no idea if that user manual's the latest rev out there on the dTools library. We're going to take care of our own files, add those to our products. So you may not want to download ours if you choose to do that yourself. But I did want to show that. Okay, let's go here. Project changes. Not a whole lot of project changes. Multiple projects can be locked at one time and or have their reports locked. I don't know why we didn't do that to begin with, but you can now select multiple and lock and unlock. Before it was on a per project basis. So I'm pretty sure we just missed that, but that's you can do that now. There's another thing that we added here to projects, and it's more of just prompting to help you not make mistakes. We added two little prompts here that have to do with change orders. So let me see if I can find one here. Let me open this project. Basically, I don't care about that, and I don't care about this message, but so let's go here. So we're going to prompt you to maintain the installation price when you're replacing products on an internal change order. So let's go ahead and do that. And hopefully y'all know this feature is here, but some of you don't have this set by default for various reasons. So we're going to warn you now in case you have unticked that option for some reason. But here's what I'm describing here is let me replace an item. So rather than delete an item and then add it, I'm going to use the replace function, which gives you a ton more options. Anybody that's not using replace on change orders, please start using replace. It's a good feature. All this is telling me is I need to pick a pending change order. So I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to mark this as internal because that's where we warn you. And oftentimes on an internal change order, that's not so. Again, let's go to that. What's an internal change order? That is internal changes that are not client facing necessarily, that it shouldn't affect them, meaning they don't owe you any more money and they're not getting money back for this change, but you've made a change based on your contract that this equipment is now this equipment. Oftentimes what you'll want to do is maintain the installation price so there is no change in price when your client does see the next change order that they are responsible for. So that's the option we gave you here. So if I select this internal change order, and I'm replacing a product, it doesn't matter what I pick, I'll pick anything. But here's the option where you can maintain installation prices. Very popular feature. Take a look at all these other things we can maintain for you as well, which is why replace is way better than deleting and adding because of this. But like if you don't have this option checked, because there are times when you don't want to maintain installation prices, especially on external change orders, we're going to warn you. Again, that's what we're telling you here. Basically, hey, do you want to maintain installation price on that? Yes or no? Oh, yes, I do. So that's one of them to help you from making a mistake. And then the other one is in regards to marking items as non-billable if they're added to an internal change order. Now, there is a setting. So this is just for people that don't like this setting on all the time, but automatically, where am I at? I'm sorry. Where's change order? Wrong tab. Mark added items as non-billable for internal change orders. This setting is not new. This has been here. I have mine set to yes, which is usually a good idea. Some of you don't do that all the time because it depends and it varies. Now, if this is set to no, we're just going to warn you and say, hey, you're adding an item. Do you want to mark it as non-billable? You can still say no, but we're just going to warn you. So let's just save and show that. So I should be able to just add any item here. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to add it. I'm going to add it to this internal change order right there. Would you like to mark them as non-billable? So just some fair warnings to help you not make mistakes. While we're here, and I kind of went there earlier by mistake. So some purchase order changes here. There's a setting here now to automatically mark included accessories as do not enter or do not order. You saw me earlier when I ticked the included option, that brand new feature I just showed you, it didn't automatically mark it as do not order because of that setting. Anyhow, that's there. You might want to do that just because there's a very good chance on a lot of those included items that you're not ordering those, that they're in the box. They came as part of the kit or whatever. While I'm here, we changed this option. Now, this option is just slightly reworded, but it used to be a yes or no option, and that was prompt to update items when you open the project editor if they've changed on a purchase order, meaning they've been received. They have serial numbers or MAC addresses, but generally it's the state of them. Have they been received? Now we give you the option here, never do it, prompt me, which is what it would do before, or just automatically do it. Now that's going to be up to you whether you automatically allow that to happen, where it will choose the items that it's been received. Otherwise, you generally go through and you pick and choose. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. For those of you that don't know, but every time things change on a purchase order, we say, hey, do you want to update these? You can have it do it automatically, but I want to show you the field so y'all can make good decisions on this. Let's see. Where is my pricing sample here? Let me open it. So this is going to tell me that I have pricing differences. That's my next example. And then here, purchase orders for this have been updated. Would you like to update that? That's because I'm set to prompt. So when I say yes, this is the part that would be skipped if you do the automatic one, meaning which items? Well, it's going to assume all of them. It's going to auto-assign the serial numbers and MAC addresses if they exist because you're not seeing this interface. And all of these options are just automatically going to happen. So it's up to you if you want to go automatic. But we did have the complaint from users. I don't want to have to deal with this every time I open a project and purchase orders have changed. At least you can tell to do it automatically now. I still suggest you prompt, but that's just me. Last but not least, this also has to do with purchase orders. So I want to stay on that subject here is, let's go, hold on. Oh, I've just got random projects here. This is my pricing sample. Yes, we'll check that in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new purchase order. Oops. For this, or just make the attempt at it. So you see this new feature. Items. I'm going to go ahead and add a project item. I think there's only one left I can add. Yeah, good. I'm going to add this. And this is the prompt that we've done this before. We've had this prompt, but we added a field to it. And what this is basically saying is we have a discrepancy here between the cost of that item in the catalog and what the cost is in the project. And that's what we've done that before. In v20, we're doing this. But what we added here is that catalog purchase cost. And that is if you do have a catalog purchase cost set for an item. If you guys aren't familiar, that's on a per vendor basis, generally used for bulk items. This example is not bulk, but an example being, again, a box of wire. My unit cost is per foot. But again, when the math works out, and I go back to that box, I never can work out that math correctly. So I have a purchase cost where that box always costs $185.67. That way you can use the purchase cost, which is the real cost when you're buying that box, versus I keep saying the word math, the math out value from taking the footage times the unit cost. So this field is important here. Now, the thing about this is, some of you may not have known that prior to this, we used to automatically use the purchase costs. If that purchase cost exists, we were using it when you added an item to a purchase order, and that was messing a lot of you up because maybe you had project-specific costs for that. Maybe you're buying in bulk, and that's another reason why the catalog unit cost may not match this. In an example like this, is like, no, on this project, that is the cost of these. But we don't like to automatically change things, and for some reason we implemented it that way originally. Now you're at least going to have the option here. We'll show you the differences, and then you get to choose what do you want to do. And of course, there can be multiple items here, and you can select individual ones. Say, use the purchase cost for these items, use the unit catalog unit cost for these. But just another way to try to help you have more accurate purchase orders. All right. Oh, geez, we're running out of time here. Oh, no. Well, there isn't too much more to show. I mean, there's an import-export for checklist, CSV export, kind of straightforward. Our checklists are 3 levels deep. But you can now import and export them. Easier editing in Excel than doing it in our interface. So great. Real quickly here. Import from CSV. Desktop. There, I have to map my columns. We only let you have 3 levels here, so you have to map those. What's column 1? It's level 1. What's column 2? Level 2, and then you can import that. We've made a couple workflow rule adjustments there. The Report Explorer now opens in its own window, which is great because it used to lock you down. Like when you're coming over here just to organize your reports, you couldn't do anything else in the software, but now it's its own floating window, so that's a good thing. Now, I know I ran a little long. I apologize. I didn't look at the time here. I did want to bring in Eduardo Volek to quickly go through some of the API changes. Hopefully, you all have a little extra time for this. And it's worth listening to if you use our API or are interested in the new features.
Thank you, Seth. All right, so I know we only have 3 minutes here. That's pretty much all I need. So I'll break this down into 2 parts. The first one is some enhancements to automation and to the integration itself. We now have a webhook, which is amazing because it provides real-time integration in terms of providing events. When there's an event in SI, we can post that information to your integration, and in your integration in turn can perform the requests, the get functions, and therefore we have a real-time integration instead of being a time-based integration since the inception of the API. The other ones, they're very popular here. The automated change. Well, actually, let me do this. I'm just going to move this to another screen and let me show you those features. So I'm on the setup control panel under manage integrations, and here you can go to the manage webhooks, and as you can see, you can set up your webhooks. You can use select the integration you're using. You can define the name, the action, the URL that you're posting that information, the basic authentication, including API keys. You can change here if you want to not use the basic authentication. We also have logs, so you know if it's a success or a failure. So it's here also. And if you have any questions, more technical questions about webhooks, please reach out to me, and we can schedule a call and we can kind of do a deep dive into those into webhooks and those settings. Here I have some of the automation. So it's under settings. Here on the manage integration settings. And then notice here, we created one for change orders. That's new one. So when a change order change statuses, we can automatically export that information to your integration or to our API, and then your API provides that, performs a get request to get that information. We have client export capabilities. This is not automated function, but if you go here to the people, and then manage clients. Notice that you have the integrations. We now have an export and import button, so you can create that link. We have a service order updates and service order automation. So let's go back there to the setup control panel very quickly and manage integrations here under the settings. And so here you have the purchase orders and service orders. Those are new as well. There's a series of performance improvements here. And again, this is all being listed on our the release notes. Feel free to go there and take a look. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. We have an API email. You also can reach out to me directly. Happy to help you anyway.
All right. Thank you, Eduardo.
Thanks again, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks, everyone.